John here. Here's the first installment of Alternate Picking Monday. In this series I'm going to show you my best practice techniques and give you my best advice when it comes to developing and maintaining your alternate picking technique. So in today's tip we're going to go through just a short picking line, and I'm also going to explain a concept that's very important in my opinion, and that's called transition time. If you want tabs for this one and the other weekly topics, you can go to my Teachable site. You have the link below, and basically sign up for that and you'll get everything that we talk about here and plus some bonuses as well. Before we get started today, sign up for my newsletter, and as soon as you do that you'll get sent a link to a hidden Teachable course where I basically go through 17 different licks and lessons in video and full tab format. So if you're interested in that stuff, go check that out. So let's go through the lick first. It's in A Aeolian, or the A natural minor scale. We start here on the root on the 17th fret of the high E string. So first part is going to go like this. Second part. And that's basically the entire sequence. Then we're just going to repeat that in 3 octaves. So the sequence then, it's a 6-note sequence first. So we use the notes F, G, and A on 13, 15, 17. If we number the notes from left to right, 1, 2, 3. The first sequence is 3, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. 3, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. So a 6-note sequence. Then we position shift, very important. We don't want any sliding sounds. And then we play the following 8th note sequence. So we're going to have 12, 13, 15, going back the way we came. So, and then we play the same 15, 13, 12 on the B string. So we got an 8th note sequence here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that will lead us into the next octave here. On the 14th fret of the G string. Do the same thing, 6-note sequence. Shift, 8th note sequence. Then we line up for the next A here. 6-note sequence. Shift, 8-note sequence. And then up here on the low A. So all together slowly. So today's practice tip is transition speed. And if I had to choose one way to practice only going forward, this would be it. I first learned about this reading Troy Stetna's excellent book Speed Mechanics when I was maybe 12 or 13. And I came upon this page where it said transition time or transition speed, something like that. And tried to wrap my head around it, but I don't think I was very successful. And that's not Troy's fault, that's my 13-year-old brain's fault. Second time I heard about it, and actually someone showed it to me, was I think 3 or 4 years later in '95 when I went to GIT, and they had this classical teacher, David Oakes, who played classical guitar, and he was known for having really good technique. So he sat down and said to the entire class, all right, I'm gonna play as fast as I can. And you can imagine a room full of guitar players being like, wow, check this out, right? And then he chucked on a metronome at 50 BPMs, which is quite slow, like this. Something like that, right? And we're all like, all right. And then he started playing. And he basically played quarter notes, so 1 note per click. And he played this thing as well. So that wasn't very exciting, right? But then he explained what he meant. And he said, I can't really play any faster than that. And we were like, all right. But then he showed us that it's not about how many notes he played per second, it's more how fast he moved from note to note. So that's the transition speed. And the reasoning behind that is, if you practice slowly, but you do the transitions as fast as possible, it will improve your tone, it will improve your synchronization, it will improve your ability to control everything you're doing, and you're also getting the benefit of teaching your brain to do these fast transitions. So when you speed it up, and in this case, speeding up just means you do more notes per minute or per second, the actual transition should remain pretty much the same, right? So if I have something like this, and if I do that with the transition speed, so I'm trying to move as fast as possible from note to note. Ideally, when I speed it up, it should feel pretty much the same. And it really does. If you do this correctly, it feels pretty much effortless. If you have a hard time knowing what I mean here and you can't really see much difference, when a lot of students come to me and they say they practice slowly and they show me, they basically would do the same thing like this. And usually not that bad, right? But they tend to slow everything down. So the motions as well. It's almost like the difference between you record something, then you slow that down with, you can slow it down here on YouTube, and then it would pretty much look like this. You would get these, everything would be equally slow, if that makes sense. And you compare that to when you make a stop motion video, like Nightmare Before Christmas, where you basically take this, you move the doll a slight bit and a slight bit more, and you take a picture each time. So when you do it very slowly, it looks kind of mechanical, like this. Doesn't look smooth at all. When you speed it up, it actually sounds and looks smooth. So that's the basic idea behind it. And even another way to think about it could be that you play it with the metronome, and you hold the note for as long as you can, and then just before the next beat you shift really quickly, which means that if you play slowly, it would have the gaps in between the notes here, but then when you practice fast instead, or practice with the transition speed, you sort of close the gap, so you get a very legato sound, a very connected sound. So it really improves your overall tone, I feel. And try to not dig in too much. So if you listen to this, I don't go... That's not the idea. You try to keep a fairly low, even dynamic when you do it. So... Another thing to watch out for is that you don't start doing this type of thing. You don't need to do that. You should keep the picking reasonably the same as you would when you play faster. So what I want you to do now is, for the next week, practice this lick for 10 minutes a day using the transition speed method. So basically turn on a metronome. I would start at maybe 60 to 80 BPMs doing quarter notes. So that would be fairly slow, right? It would be like... But you do the as fast transition as you can. And before you do that though, learn this lick obviously, but also try to see how fast you can do it in 16th notes for now, at this point. So you have something to measure it against in a week. And the way that I want you to do this is that you only do the metronome thing now, today, and then you get in your practice 10 minutes a day of doing all the transition time work, and you don't touch this lick in any other way during this week. And then after the week is gone, so basically you should have 70 minutes of doing the transition time work on this particular lick. You check your tempo again, and I'm pretty much 100% sure that you will see that your speed even though you haven't pushed the speed during the week at all, you've spent 10 minutes a day on this, only transition time, you will see that your speed and your accuracy on this thing and your overall playing will have gone up during that time. And I'm not going to promise you there's going to be this dramatic, like, oh yeah, you went from not being able to play anything to Paul Gilbert speed, right? But you should see quite a significant change in your ability to play this cleanly and at a higher tempo, even without pushing the speed. All right, thank you for watching. If you have any questions or comments, post them below. But also, if you have any specific problems with your alternate picking technique, it will be really helpful if you post them below, because then I have something that I can cover in upcoming videos. So my idea here with these weekly videos on different topics is that it will be sort of an interactive thing where I can get feedback from you guys and you can help me out when it comes to what you want to see in the upcoming videos. So I really do this for you. So just post them below and hopefully you'll see that topic pop up in a future video.